something I did ahead of time because the radio itself is going to be, I'm going to install it under the driver's seat. I used the mounting hardware that came with it, and I attached it to a little cutting board. So it's kind of up off the ground, and I screwed it in with the I drilled it, drilled 4 holes in the cutting board, and then used the bolts and nuts and washers that came with it. They did stick out a little bit on the bottom, but that was okay because I got some industrial strength Velcro. This is the hook side, and I just kind of covered those with it, and you can see it's not completely flat, obviously, because the nut and bolt sticking through. I didn't bother with like grinding it off or anything like that. Each of these has enough sitting that I'm going to show you here in the back. When you put it on, when it sits on the carpet, like it'll sit under the seat, I'm going to do it because it'll be hard to get to, but when you put it down there, it sticks just fine. The hook side, using the carpet as the loop, so it holds just fine like that. So here's under the hood, there's the battery where it's gonna hook up to, but to get the power cords into the passenger compartment where the radio is gonna be, there's a couple of things you can do. Some people will run it under this and through the door jamb, but there is a grommet, there's a pass-through. It's not easy to see, but you can kind of see it right back there in the middle of the screen. Has, I think it says SB or something like that. SJ. 29 by whatever that is. That's a little grommet that goes through. You can see it is just to the inside of the steering wheel is where it kind of sits, I mean geographically. All right, so this is kind of the same, I mean it's going to be the same picture or video I just kind of showed you. This is that grommet off, and you can see where it was, that kind of white or lighter colored area there. That's where it goes into the passenger compartment. And hang on one second, I'll show you from the inside. I ran a wooden dowel through it from the engine compartment side into the inside here, just to give you an idea where that is. Try and get a little light on there. It's not easy to do for these angles, but you can see that's where it comes through. So that's where the power cables will come through, kind of along this side here, and probably underneath, and then up through there. That's the plan anyway. So we're gonna have to make a cut in the grommet here, because the grommet's gonna go back in with the wire, the power cable coming through. So I want to make as small of a cut as I can and pass end of the power cable through, and then put the grommet back in. You can work the cable through it, and then there's going to be I've got silicone adhesive that once I'm all done, I'll seal it up with the silicone adhesive so it's not going to allow water or anything to get through it. So I made my slit in the grommet. The end I passed through was the end that plugs into the radio. That's what I passed through. Hindsight being 2020, if I would have done the other end, the end that goes to the battery one at a time, I probably could have gotten away with a smaller slit. At the end of the day, I don't think it matters too much because I'm going to seal it all up with some silicone adhesive to seal it all back up, to weatherproof it. But these power cords, or the ends of these came with the radio with just bare metal. So I trimmed them down a little bit, and I got these ends, these connectors, 14, 16 gauge connectors, and crimped them on, and then used a heat gun to, these have heat, they're made of heat shrink, so I used the heat gun on low and heat shrink them down. So you can see on the inside now I've got the power cord pushed through. You can kind of see up in there where it comes out through the sound dampening or insulation material. I'll get that all, for now I'm just going to pull it through and just kind of roughly hook things up, make sure everything works. The plan is for the antenna to go on the back left part of the hatchback here. That's where it's going to go. I'm going to start working on that, making sure the mount fits before I pull all the trim and everything. and then just wire everything up, make sure the radio's working. I'm not having any problems, nothing not making contact. There it is, mounted or attached to the back of the hatchback or trunk, whatever you want to call it there. Just if anyone's working on one with one of the Comet mounts, this is what tightens it here, but for the other axes, this way and this way, these are 10mm sockets, just FYI, because you're going to be digging around for a while trying this one, trying that one, but they're 10mm. So I've got the trim panels, the top and then the two side trim panels popped off the hatchback part, and these are the little pass-throughs that I was kind of talking about, where the coax is going to have to kind of go through that. In order to get these off, the antenna is over on this side, and so the coax is going to run up underneath that trim panel, and then it's going to come out into here, and it's going to be passed through this cable right here. You can see that's for the rear dash cam that I had previously installed. So the same idea, you run that cable through this. I didn't pop this one off yet, just kind of show you the difference. This rubber part is attached, it's not separate, so I mean, maybe it's separate. I guess it probably is really separate if you really dig hard and take it off, but basically you can just pop the little end of this up, and in the top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, there are these little tabs, and you just pop that tab with your trim tool, just give it a little push and it'll kind of pop out. Once you get two of them done, like I did the two on the top here, as soon as I got those done, the thing popped out. So you can kind of see underneath there, you see it's like, man, you lift that up, it's like really hard to pick that up. Don't mind all the pollen here from all the trees, but you can use the trim tool to get underneath that. So what we're gonna have to do here, it's about time to start running the coax cable from where it is back here, come in through this, down here, through this, into there, and that goes like into the body or the frame of the car, and then run it through the headliner to the A pillar and down under the driver's seat. But you look at this, how it's going to come in, look, how am I going to get this in there? You got this giant PL259 connector, right? Okay, hang on. Okay, so the PL259, this is not necessarily going to work on any old PL259. I have some random PL259 connectors in my house, and I've tried this and it doesn't work. This is a Comet. Okay, this is what this is, and I think this is going to be true on most, if not all, Comets. I don't know about any other antenna manufacturer, so I can't speak to that. But what you can do with this from Comet, this connector here, if you push backwards and turn it clockwise, okay, push back and clockwise, it will pop off the back. Okay, so now on the actual barrel part here, see if you can get it to see on there, it's got two flat spots, kind of 180 degrees off from each other. It keeps focusing on me. I don't want it to focus on me, I want it to focus on this. But on that actual connector itself, or the jack here, anyway, two flat spots. You hold those two flat spots and you turn it once again clockwise. You see it will come off. Ta-da. And then you can run that up. So now all we have to worry about passing through is this. So this is a heck of a lot easier to pass through than, this crazy old thing. So again, this for sure works on a Comet antenna. I don't know about any other manufacturers. So got this ready to pass through here. Got a zip tie electrical tape to the end of the PL259. It's gonna come through under the trim, through this, come out here, which will lead into there, and then pop out this end, and then from there I can run it into the passenger compartment. Hopefully we get this on the first try. If not, I'll just do it over and over. But through the magic of movie editing, I'll bet you it'll look like I got it on the first try. All right, here it is, all passed through. Still have to stuff it down in there, of course, but I got a lot of slack to pull through. But that's what it'll look like. Now just take the zip tie and the duct tape off and kind of wipe any sticky residue off of there. All right, so we've got the wire coming out back in behind through this trim panel up through here. So you're gonna wanna run it through, I don't know how I can do this here. It's gonna wanna run through this little opening here, and then try to do this so you can see, and then out the top here. See this, that is not just a little simple screw. I'm not gonna pop it out and show you because it's a, if you pop one out, they can be hard to get back in, but it's like a plastic screw, and then see, this isn't like a washer, it's like a circle with like a prongs coming down off of it, kind of like that, and they spring out and kind of holds it in. And so if you pop that out, it can be real pain to get back in. So if you can do this by just running your PL259, you just pull the trim back a little bit and feed it through that little gap or opening, and then around through this, because that's a pain in the butt if you pop it off. I find them to be a pain in the butt, maybe you don't. And then just zip tied it to this other wire bundle here in preparation of closing it all up. So, a little update here. You can see that here it is, the radio is under the driver's seat. It's sitting on some newspaper right now because, as you may recall, there's Velcro, the hook part of Velcro on the bottom of that cutting board that it's mounted to. So I want to be able to move it around before it's like gets stuck with the Velcro, and then it makes it harder to move. It's not impossible to move, just I don't want it to be as difficult. Speaking of difficult, so there's the antenna plugged in. That Comet CP5M comes with 5 meters of coax, which is just shy of 16.5 feet. I used pretty much every bit of it, running it from the back of the car up to here. There I've got the moonroof, you know, sunroof, moonroof, whatever you want to call it. There's airbags all over the place in the headliner of this car. So it took every bit of that 5 meters, you know, running it up here. I still have the trim panels off. I haven't put them back in yet. Coming down through here, popping through here, along. You can kind of see it's in there, but you know, you can't go straight across. That's what holds the headliner on, and you can't really see it too well. But further up there, there's some daylight that's comes through the glass part of the sunroof or moonroof. There's an airbag up in there. You're not gonna be able to see it, I don't think, but I don't want to pop this out too much. But trust me when I tell you, there's an airbag up in here. So you know, you can't just. I wasn't able to just run it straight across the inside of the roof. I had to, you know, go around the outside. So you use up that 5 meters pretty quickly.